Peanut butter is one of those foods we're all weirdly loyal to. We grow up on it, we defend it, we'll argue about crunchy versus creamy like it's a personality trait, and we never really look at what's inside the jar until something feels off. And lately, a lot of jars feel off. Because peanut butter should be simple. Peanuts, maybe salt, maybe a little texture, that's it. But the modern aisle is packed with spreads that taste like candy, never separate because they've been engineered not to, and in a few cases have been tied to recalls or contamination headlines that are hard to ignore. So let's get into the 5 peanut butter brands I'd personally avoid, and why. Then I'll give you 2 brands that still seem to remember the main ingredient is supposed to be peanuts. Number 5, Peter Pan. This one has pure nostalgia power. It's been around forever, it's got that childhood lunch vibe, and for a long time it got treated like a fun, harmless staple. The problem is, Peter Pan has had some ugly history attached to it. There was a major salmonella outbreak back in the mid-2000s tied to a facility in Georgia. And when you read the details that were reported at the time, it's the kind of stuff that makes you stare at your pantry like it owes you an apology. Roof leaks, equipment problems, the kind of, how did this pass inspection? Energy nobody wants connected to a kid's food. Even setting that aside, the jar itself has drifted into that old-school corporate formula where sweetness and shelf stability are doing most of the heavy lifting. Sugar, added oils, extra sweetness to the point where the peanut flavor feels like it's fighting for attention. It's not that you can't eat it and survive, it's that you're buying peanut butter and getting something closer to a dessert spread that's had peanut flavor sprinkled on top. Number 4, Planters. This one annoys me more than it probably should, because Planters is supposed to know peanuts. That's their whole identity. Mr. Peanut, the top hat, the history, all of it screams nut experts. So when their peanut butter tastes like a super smooth, overly sweet paste, with a faint peanut afterthought, it feels like betrayal with a monocle. A lot of people describe it the same way. Too sweet, too processed, weirdly flat. And the ingredient approach leans into the usual suspects. Added sugars, added oils, stabilizers that keep it perfectly uniform, so you never have to stir. That uniform texture is convenient, sure, but convenience is often code for, we changed it until it behaves, not we made it taste like peanuts. And the funniest part, in a sad way, is the pricing. Planters can charge like they're premium because the brand feels premium. Meanwhile, the jar can end up tasting like something that should have been a store brand experiment. Number 3, Skippy. Skippy used to feel like the classic middle-of-the-road choice, not fancy, not trying too hard, just the jar that showed up in a lot of kitchens. But Skippy's had modern quality control drama that's hard to shrug off. There was a recall in 2022 involving possible foreign material contamination, including reports of metal fragments. And I'm sorry, but peanut butter is not supposed to come with a surprise hardware upgrade. Even beyond that, the flavor profile has leaned heavily into sweet and ultra-smooth, with stabilizers and added ingredients doing the work that peanuts used to do naturally. The end result is a spread that can taste more like peanut-flavored frosting than ground nuts. If you love it, I get it. But for me, once a brand has recall headlines tied to stuff that absolutely should not be in food, it's hard to go back to, la la la, everything's fine. Number 2, Great Value. I'm not going to dunk on budget shoppers, because most of us have been there. Sometimes you're feeding a family, and the fancy jar just isn't happening this week. I understand that, but the concern with the cheapest peanut butter is often the same. Lower cost peanuts can come with higher risk of quality issues if sourcing and storage aren't top tier. And one of the things people bring up with peanuts specifically is aflatoxins, naturally occurring toxins that can show up when crops get moldy. Regulators set limits, but the general fear is that technically allowed isn't the same as what I'd pick if I had a choice. Add in the typical budget formula extras, more sugar, more added oils, more stabilizers, and you're not really getting peanuts in a jar. You're getting sweetened spread that happens to contain peanuts. If this is what someone can afford, I'm not here to shame them. I'm just saying if you're choosing between jars and you've got options, this isn't the one I'd feel great about eating all the time, especially for kids who go through peanut butter like. It's a major food group. Number 1, Jif. Jif is the heavyweight. It's everywhere. It's basically the default in a lot of homes. And their marketing has been so effective that people treat it like the safe, sensible choice. But Jif has also had a major recall tied to possible salmonella contamination at a facility in Kentucky. And that's the kind of thing that sticks in your brain. Not because it means every jar is contaminated, obviously, but because it reminds you how fragile trust really is when one plant feeds a huge chunk of the country. And flavor-wise, Jif is part of that same sweet, stabilized, never separate, engineered for consistency school of peanut butter. It's smooth, it's easy, it's designed to taste the same forever. But the trade-off is that it can end up tasting like a peanut-themed confection more than a simple groundnut spread. So yeah, this is my biggest I'd pass jar. Not because it's evil in a comic book way, but because it's the perfect example of how a comfort food can turn into a corporate formula with a history that makes you hesitate. Alright, so what do you buy if you want peanut butter that actually tastes like peanuts? Here are two I feel better about. Number 2, Kirkland's Signature Organic Peanut Butter. This one is basically the adult decision jar that still tastes good. Organic peanuts, sea salt, simple ingredient list, and it actually tastes like a real food instead of a candy spread. You will get oil separation. That's normal. That's what happens when peanuts are allowed to behave like peanuts. Stir it once, store it how you like, and you're good. And the value is honestly the best part. It's one of the few products that makes you think, wait, so you're telling me the simple version can be cheaper than the chemical circus? Yeah, apparently it can. Number 1, Trader Joe's Peanut Butter. This is the jar that makes me feel like peanut butter used to be before the industry got obsessed with turning everything into dessert. Peanuts and salt, simple, honest, and the flavor is actually nutty instead of just sweet. It's dense, it's real, and it tastes like it belongs on toast, not in a frosting dispenser. You'll probably have to stir it. You'll probably have to accept that it looks less perfect. But that's kind of the point. Real food isn't always pretty, it's just real. Here's the thing I'd leave you with. If your peanut butter tastes like candy, never separates, and has a long ingredient list full of stabilizers and sweeteners, that's not peanut butter the way most of us think it is. It's a product designed to hit your brain like a treat and sit on a shelf like it's immortal. So next time you're in that aisle, don't just grab the jar you grew up with. Flip it around, read it like you actually care about future you. Because you do, and if you've got a jar in your pantry right now, tell me what it is. I'll help you sanity check the ingredient list without turning it into a chemistry lecture.